Hello everyone and welcome to another Walshingham diary. So we've just been on a procession around Walshingham and we had these little candles and it was really lovely because it was pitch black and we all had there was like a trail of glowing orange light and it was really quite magical. Only problem was there was a lot of people congestion and people didn't know what they were doing because they were all getting clogged up and they weren't watching what was going on, because it kept getting clogged up. And so, we did that, and that was fun. We sang endless verses of Ave Maria. I think it's about 37 of them. So we were singing Ave, Ave, Ave Maria. And sometimes I didn't sing at all, and I just went because that's what it sounded like. And then we came back to this shrine and this priest explained about what was going to happen next, and we had three choices. We could have a blessing in which the priest places his two hands on your head and you tell him your worries and he prays for you silently. I forget what the second one was, but the third one was confession. And so I fancied doing this one with the hands on the head. So I went up to him and said, grant, and loneliness and depression. And he put both of his hands on my head and I sort of just did this. And he said a prayer for me silently and it took about 30 seconds. And I felt something. I felt very moved by it. And then we came out of that and I went looking for Morris. But before we'd got there, he was telling us this story, the priest. Anyway, so the priest was telling this story about this boy who was on a bus and he had to change buses. So he got off, and as soon as he got off the bus, these kids in hoodies came up to him and beat him half to death. After some time, they stabbed him, and he went crawling to his friend who was on the other side, who'd managed to escape. And he went up to them. He went up to his friend, and there were these two other people coming out of the church, and they came over to him and said, you are loved. You are loved. And they said this over and over again, and then slowly he died. But I felt that the really bad part about this story was the fact that when they'd actually stabbed him, these people were laughing at the fact that they'd just beaten someone half to death for no reason at all, and then just laughed. Which I think, it makes you kind of think, what sort of inbreds are we actually breeding in this world? But, there's something mentally wrong with those children who did that. But anyway, and there was another story which I found more moving, and which was of the 7/7 attacks. And there was this fireman, and he went over to see this thing. He saw something, and he goes over to this man, and this man is dying. And the fireman simply goes over to him and basically hugs him. And the man who's dying looks up and he smiles and then just passes away, which I thought was lovely. Yes, he died, but the happy part of the story is the fact that he smiled just before he died, and he had one last happy moment, and his death was rather peaceful and everything. But I came back to this cottage that we're staying in, an absolutely lovely cottage, heavenly, and I felt rather strange, like I had this thing in my stomach, like, it was more in my heart really, and I just sort of felt this lump in my heart, and I felt very sad and moved by what I just actually experienced with the stories and having my healing and everything. And so I felt a little moved, which was rather lovely. So yeah.